Ladies and gentlemen of the old world, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between the Sons of Sigmar and the Warriors of Chaos here on the Jade Tomb. It's going to be Karl, Franz, the Prince and Emperor, facing off against Valky the Bloody, as well as Steerkar. Oh, is Franz giving a speech? Okay, I thought he was. Didn't want to interrupt him. Alright, so as far as my build goes, it's going to be wagons. Now, historically, I would sometimes bring handgunners or those type of Hochland units against the Warriors of Chaos, but now that they have access to the Dreadmaws, I think it's a little bit too risky. They'll sneak into your backfield, they'll pop up, and if you have static artillery or if you have anything like that, you're going to pay the troll toll. So Empire is really good at mobile shooting. We got 4 war wagons, which are excellent against chaos. Really subpar against infantry, but against the bigger threats, they do a great job. So we got 4 of those. Prince and Emperor up in the sky is fun. Him or Boris are both viable choices. He does do magic damage, is a great fighter, and hits pretty hard. You just got to babysit him a little bit with the Jade Wizard, and aside from that, he will get the job done. We do have Spearmen, great swords. You really want great swords in this matchup because of the prevalence of Forsaken. Forsaken are the most popular infantry unit that the Warriors of Chaos will bring for sure. However, Marauder Bearmen might change that up a little bit, but in general, the great swords are very, very nice. Now for the Warriors of Chaos army here, it's going to be Valky the Bloody, Steerkar on his Velociraptor. No, actually not the Velociraptor, the Anteater mount. Not the Demonic Steed, but he's still 75 speed on this, with his Sign of Depravity, which is good against Empire. Empire rocks a lot of state troopers, so he can often get this big aura and do some heavy lifting. Marauder Bearmen, some Chaos Chariots, and a Death Sorcerer with Spirit Leech and Buna, and it is going to be Valky the Bloody up in the sky. Alright guys, so the battle is on. We do have our State Trooper Brick moving up towards Objective 2, and the War Wagon's going to be heading towards Objective 1 with Karl Franz looking out in the skies. He will beat Valky in a duel. He's got quite a bit more HP, 6.8 against 5,600, and also has, I think, higher weapon strength at 49, or 490 against 440, but she does have anti-large. It's a bit of a scary fight, but Franz can hold his own and do pretty well there. So the wagon's shooting into Steerkar. Steerkar is going to be running right now. He doesn't want any of that smoke from the wagons. And if you're a Empire player who is trying to use wagons, always make sure to turn off fire at will unless you're like running from something and you want to shoot them, then you can reactivate it. Because you really have to be efficient with your ammo. If you just like run them and shoot into the shielded infantry, you're going to have a very bad time. They're going to run out of ammo and you're going to be suffering. Now my opponent calling in the Hell Cannon, which is a great choice. I don't have a cannon or anything to really deal with this, so the Soul of Damnation here is a menace. And even if I did have a cannon, the problem is I'd have to move it up to like right around here to hit it, which puts it right in the line of an infantry blitz, and I don't have that big of an infantry line, so yeah, Hell Cannon's great though. It's going to be a very hard counter against my greatswords and against my expensive cavalry that will be coming out. Alright, in the back we get more greatswords coming out, and I will be contesting the point. The Prince and Emperor is going to be looking for some fights here, so Karl Franz does see some bearmen. He was eyeing them, but didn't want any of that. It's going to be wheeling around and shooting at, unshielded great weapon infantry that costs what, 650, 700? Is a good call for the war wagons. That's like the bottom line threshold of a target that you should be putting ammo into. So Valky does dive here, and is not going to pick off a wagon, but might get a little bit of damage. But Karl Franz is on the hunt to defend, and they do engage up in the sky, and Franz does have the support of his boys. So the war wagon crews down below are going to be providing a little bit of fire support, and Valky is going to be fleeing the scene. Up on the objective, the first Bearmen do arrive, and my Greatswords and State Troopers will be holding there. And this point is just my Helm's Deep here. He does charge in with some Chaos Chariots. My Spearmen are braced, and it looks like he is going to be taking the charge. So still will do some damage, but the brace will help out quite a bit, and the Greatswords will do some okay work as well. But shooting in is the dreaded Hell Cannon, able to drop some damage on the Greatswords with the Chariot. So very, very good combo right there. In the meantime, Hellstriders to Slaanesh trying to penetrate through into the backfield, but this is where you put fire at will on, so they'll shoot while they're being chased. And Franz and the Jade Wizard are going to be helping out. And with Blood Roar, he probably will be able to break their leadership pretty hard. While the wagons, it's so cool when they're like running from cab and shooting from the back of those firing platforms. Very, very fun. But we do take Objective 1. Another Greatsword's going to be on its way up. And it looks like the Forces of Chaos are going to be trying to press my back objective. Now this is going to be scary. Marauder Bearmen will decisively defeat Spearmen, especially with the Hell Cannon shooting in, doing some great work. So I am providing a little bit of fire support from the wagons. Certainly doesn't feel great, but here come the Greatswords moving into the Marauder Bearmen. They are shaken, but their ITP is so freaking good. Greatswords on the point, fending off some Hellstriders, and now it's really just, I don't want to get triple capped. So that's the thing, when you're playing an order faction, or not order faction per se, but a defensive gunline faction or bowline, whatever, you always got to make sure if you're on the back foot value trading that you are not getting triple capped out of the gate. So you got to put all your efforts, even if it means yielding the other points, to defending your back point when they come in like this. Empire Knights do eat a Fate of Buna, and man, I was very happy about that. I was like, because I have 2 Knights of the Black Rose and also I think Knights of the Blazing Sun in reserve. So the fact that he abunted those meant I could call out something a little bit stronger. So Greatswords are fighting here. Unfortunately, Marauder Bearmen will be doing some good AP against them. But Karl Franz going to be popping in, getting a nice rear charge on these bad boys, and hitting them up pretty good. Bearmen, though, still confident. Very stalwart units. Good play from Subutai here, getting the Marauder Horsemen throwing axes to hit Franz. But they do have the Reichel and Runefang, so they will be getting some nice DPS. I basically don't have any way to shut down that Soul of Damnation. If I dive back there, he has Hellstriders. So I just have to eat it, and it's probably going to get thousands and thousands of value. So the fight on the back objective continues, and now it looks like Elspeth going to be sending in the homies. The Knights of the Black Rose do arrive, and they're going to be riding down these filthy barbarians. And yeah, Knights of the Black Rose are basically a hard counter against Bearmen. They have 120 armor, really good stats, high melee defense. A little bit struggle city against the Great Open version, but even still, they will win that fight. Steercar and company, though, do manage to break my lines here. The Empire Knights that got bunted, and the Great Swords do get broken. And on this side, Karl Franz trying to hold the objective to the best of his abilities, but with the throwing axes as well as the Soul of Damnation, Franz and the Great Swords are going to have to retreat and figure out a different option here. So on this point, Spearmen, with shields, they do have 42 melee defense, they're holding well. And in the backfield, the Forces of Chaos trying to penetrate into the Hellstriders and Steercar, but Franz is on his way back in, and I saw Steercar, and I was like, oh yeah, that guy's got to pay the price. The Aura of Depravity is currently not active because none of my brave Sigmarites are running. And the wagons are going to be shooting and providing fire support into the Hellstriders, which are trying to loop around, but they're being hunted by Black Rose Knights. And Black Rose Knights will beat Hellstriders. Hellstriders have very low AP values. 30 of their weapon strength, only 10 of it is armor piercing, so they're going to get folded up pretty bad. And they do get engaged by another cav unit, Steercar trying to help, but the Sign of Depravity will not save him this day. On this point, the objective does start to flip, and this is a big, lose condition for me. If I lose this objective, he's probably going to just start to take over the game on points. You cannot let it happen when you're playing these defensive positions. I can't tell you how many times I've said it's not going to happen in a game, and then I do something like, oh, let's just try and play everywhere instead of just really hunkering down. But Franz coming in, the big Prince and Emperor with Galmaraz, taking out Steercar. Not alone, though. He doesn't stand alone. This is some Avenger stuff, right? The Empire usually works together, the combined arms. And Steercar does get bullied by Franz pretty bad. And the wagon crews, look how bloodthirsty those horses are. Oh my god, Franz was like pushing the wagon into him. Oh my god, but yeah, he's gonna get broken right there. Farewell, my sweet prince, and goodbye, Steercar. So he's taken down. Black Rose Knights trying to chase down these bad boys, and we're gonna be sending our Black Rose Knights in to make sure I don't lose out on the objective while the Hell Cannon keeps farming. And a really good Fate of Boring right here on top of the Knights of the Black Rose. That's huge damage, and unlike Blazing Suns, they don't have spell resist, so I personally like them more because you can really get the Black Rose Knights stuck into combat. There are situations in which Blazing Suns are better if you're expecting like trolls and those type of things, or you want to be moving around more on the map. But on this defensive posturing that I'm using with the wagons, I definitely like the Black Rose Knights. So getting attacked by Hellstriders, Franz is going to be surging across, and now I need to get back on the board and get ready to move up because value trading is pretty close, which, value trading when the status goes in your opponent's favor in terms of objectives is stressful, but you have to remember I have a life wizard. So I have a lot of healing, and it has come into play. I've healed quite a bit, cast a bunch of Earthbloods. It makes a difference. So here the Chaos Sorcerer is chilling out a little bit. War Wagon's going to be taking pot shots. Franz will be able to counter these Armored Chaos Trolls pretty well. Blood Roar lowers our leadership super hard, and now the Prince and Emperor is going to see his prize, wielding the Reichel and Runefang, and the Harry Potter here for Chaos is going to get hunted down by the Franz, and is going to be forced back. Some more Greatswords coming in. We're doing the Kung Pao face-to-foot style, basically just having to eat these Hell Cannon shots, and right now, that thing has so much ammo, 2,000 value already, so it's really paid for itself. Forsaken coming in, Valkyria chasing off some Greatswords, just making sure I have no infantry presence on the other side, while the Sorcerer does flee the scene. I do have some tattered state troopers here trying to ninja his objective, and if he doesn't pay attention, I might be able to get that. Sorcerer, will it run? It is broken. Maybe it will rally. And at the back point, the Knights, as well as the state troopers, finally breaking the Marauder Bearmen right there, and Franz is going to be moving in to fight Valkyria once again. So the Romance duel up in the sky. Franz once again comes in with a little bit of gun support and forces Valkyria back, so she is going to be running 3,400 HP, Franz at 6,000, so definitely very well ahead there. Greatswords and Greatswords coming up, and they are moving and a grooving. I certainly got to figure out some tech for dealing with Hell Cannons in this matchup, because this thing has just been all the trading is just would be massively in my favor if I could just shut down that Soul of Damnation. It's just really keeping the game close for him. Now, Rot Knights are on the way in. A good choice. Rot Knights will beat up Karl Franz. They're decent against Greatswords and also will be very good against my Cav units. But we do have some monsters Cav of our own. Franz going to be getting his first regrowth right here, which will heal his vigor as well as his HP. And healing vigor is quite good. I'm not sure if just one regular regrowth will be enough to get him to another threshold of vigor, but we'll check in a minute. On the backside, we do see some Marauder Bearmen moving in, and the Greatswords are surging towards the back objective, feeling confident, but my opponent notices this and gets the Hell Cannon to zero into those Greatswords, which means the Forsaken will beat them after they eat a couple shots. Moving up our Greatswords, and this is going to be the final apocalyptic battle for the game, really. I mean, he's forming ranks here. He's got Trolls, Forsaken, Hellstriders, and Rotting Rider RORs. I have regular demis, I have spears. I do have Karl, Franz, and the War Wagon fire support, so it's certainly a bit of an evenish battle here. And these Greatswords are going to go for it, even though it's probably a bit of a mistake. The Hell Cannon has just really softened them up to the point where the Forsaken would win. Normally, Greatswords do really crush Forsaken, but being at half health, it's going to be a bad fight. But they do have floppy hats, so they have that going for them. All right, the Apocalypse, the End Times is here. Bombardment's coming in. Greatswords doing some really nice burst damage, but being at half health, it ain't going to be enough. So trying to soften up the Trolls a little bit. Greatswords do move in, and I managed to flip the point, which is really, really nice here. Demogryph Knights are up and ready. Rotting Riders 1-to-1 would crush them, but if I do have Karl Franz with the Reikland Runefang and Galmaraz, as well as fire support from the wagons, that could do the trick. So the Prince and Emperor diving in, being brought to his men, and we will be popping all the buffs, and the Blood Roar will help me break those Trolls pretty quickly. As Franz does move in, Hellstrider's going to be creeping around the back, and here comes the Rotting Riders. Going to be pounding into the Greatswords, but hopefully they'll be able to hold. And Demi's just going to be trying to intercept Hellstriders, but my opponent does avoid that with good micro. And here comes the Demogryphs and the Rotting Riders. Man, look at the size difference. Those guys are huge. But Demis will put up a good fight, and we do get a good impact. Obviously going worse for the Demis, but now that the wagons are firing in, you can see the fight is changing a little bit. And I do use a regrowth and Reikland Runefang, putting the Demogryph Knights up to another stat threshold and letting them survive the envelop. So kind of a little bit of a layered pancake here. Rotting Riders doing all right, but Franz is attacking them as well, and he has his anti-large Galmaraz, and the Empire Knights come in and relieve the beleaguered Demogryph Knights, breaking through the Chaos lines. Very, very epic stuff here, as there is going to be some sort of Slaanesh, I believe. Yeah, it's a Slaanesh item. Nice damage against the Spearmen. On the backside, a little bit dodgy. The State Troopers being attacked by the remnants of the Forsaken. Spearmen and some Greatswords are going to be rallying back there to try and deal with this. But this really is the epicenter of combat. With the healing, we break the Rotting Riders. Karl Franz is going to be a bully here, and he is going for it, getting some big routes on the Troll units and leading the Sons of Sigmar to battle. It's so glorious. You got to love this stuff, right? Just all the State Troopers and Empire Knights battling these scary units. Very, very fun stuff. I mean, yeah, Empire games, I think, are some of the coolest games. Very, very heavily biased, obviously. So we do hold the objective. The Greatswords fought, ended up getting broken. Valkia dueling it with Franz. And now we have an opportunity to go and try and secure Objective 3. Wagons are 3 capture weight apiece, so 3, 6, 9, 12. It's the equivalent of, 2 infantry units and a little something, something. My back point, a little bit sketchy, though. Certainly don't want to be losing that. But the Black Rose Knights will make very quick work of those units when they do get there. And we did manage to hold the side objective. Now, Franz being attacked by the remnants of the Rotting Riders. Spearmen do get terror-ratted. Hopefully they will come back. Valkia battling it out here. But getting that objective is quite huge, and on the backside, we do get there just in time, but it does flip, unfortunately. No, not in time. Marauder Bearmen are going to get it, though, so that objective will be mine, and the wagons are going to be securing this point, as we do see a Fate Abinu going down to the Demis to really finish them off. But thankfully for me, they are able to get the Rotting Riders offline, so the Elite Nurgle Cav do go into the pits and are going to be forced to flee the scene. A couple Marauder Horsemen nearby, but the State Troopers are reforming the ranks under the banner of the Emperor. So more Greatswords coming back. Spearmen going to be holding, and we got round 2, baby. These guys are coming in. But with the wagons coming into the flank, still having a little bit of ammo, enough to change the tide of the fight, a lot of these units are going to pay the iron price, and Franz and the Troopers should be able to break the enemy lines with Blood Roar and Terror. And back here, we're securing this objective. The Black Rose Knights cleaning up these. State Troopers on the way, and Objective 3 belongs to us as well. A pretty epic Karl Franz game. He gets in there, he bashes these bad boys. Galmaraz wielded proudly in the skies, and the forces of Chaos are most likely going to be routed off here, and Valkia will have to go back to the Chaos Waste and figure it out. Sitting at 1700 HP, throwing axes into Franz, pretty cost effective, but with the back objective being taken by us and rapidly approaching 1250 points, we're going to be in a situation where we could just win on 1, holding back on objective 2 if need be. So basically no chances for Chaos, as Valkia is getting blasted by the remaining ammunition to the War Wagon, down to 900 HP. Spearmen pushing back the Trolls, Greatswords countering the Forsaken. Franz a little bit trapped up, but he's got all his items. I think I still have mana for regrowths at this point. The War Wagons could, of course, be used as battering rams if need be. Black Rose Knights heading to the home point. We'll be able to beat those Marauder Bearmen with a price. They are great weapons, so they'll do okay, but 32 melee attack into 51 melee defense, a bit tricky. Franz getting afflicted by Spirit Leech, but retreating back to the Greatswords, who will help him. And ladies and gentlemen, that is basically going to be it, as the Warriors of Chaos desperately trying to get some ground back, but the Empire endures, and the wagon's coming up, preventing the enemy capture, and victory for Reichland. GG, well played. Really fun match. Yeah, so a couple things. Getting Steercar and getting the Deathcaster, but the Deathcaster came back and was able to do some work. I don't know if it was resummoned, but Steercar is an expensive investment. He's like 1,500, and having him do basically nothing was a big setback there. Yeah, Hell Cannon was the hard carry for him. 3,200 value on that. Franz at 25, 1,500, 1,200, 1,100, and 1,100 there as well. With the Greatswords coming in and doing good considering they were getting just blasted over and over. But yeah, fun game. GG, well played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. We'll be back with more action soon. And that is it for tonight.